Hello friends, and welcome back to this course titled as Introduction to Indian Writing in English. Friends, in the last class, we successfully completed Unit 9. We discussed about the art of characterization and major characters in this novel Untouchable. Now today we are starting with a new unit but with the same text. In Unit 10, in this class, we will be discussing the major themes in this seminal text, in this very popular work named as Untouchable. But before going to the themes, let us talk about what are you going to learn from this lecture? What will be the outcome of this lecture? Friends, you would be able to compare the thematic context with the content. How the themes are related to the content. How the themes had some context with the content. How you are able to understand that these themes are necessary to understand the human reflection, the society which was visible pre-independence. So, with this note, let us move to the first theme in the novel Untouchable. Friends, this theme, which is titled as You Are What You Wear, was applicable not only in that era of 1935, but it is even applicable in the present time. You might have seen many videos on YouTube or any social networking platform where the people who are not well dressed are not allowed to enter in some party or banquet hall, assuming that those people do not belong to a set social class. On the other hand, when we talk about this particular novel, there were set ways of wearing clothes according to the caste and religion of a person. And thus, clothes were playing a very major role in the division of society, into the cutting of society into pieces. Nowadays also, the people who are little bit traditional, not very educated, they wear their traditional dresses, and you can look at them and understand that this particular person belongs to this community or this class or this caste. The similar concepts were applicable to this novel also. Habiliments, known in contemporary vernacular as clothing, play a pivotal role in Untouchable. For starters, Anand uses characters' clothing to signifying everything from religion to caste level. Friends, clothing is a symbol of casteism. Clothing is the supporter of casteism in this novel. Clothing is, let's say, emphasizing or endorsing casteism into the pre-independence Indian society. During the beginning of Bakha's day, clothing is used to differentiate many men that come to use the latrines. The Hindus are naked except for their loin clothes. Friends, The story begins with the people coming to use the latrines at a public place. And there is a group of sweepers who are cleaning those latrines. And that is the beginning of the day of Bakha. Because generally people used to go there in the early morning time. And when the Mulk Raj Anand is, let's say, talking about the appearance of those people, he is clearly discriminating between the category of people on the basis of their clothes. Mulk Raj Anand says that the Hindus are naked except for their loin clothes. They are naked. They are appearing, let's say, their appearance is almost similar of all the Hindus. Muslims are distinct from Hindus because they wear long white cotton tunics and baggy trousers. So friends, Muslims were completely different in their appearance from Hindus. They had a different way of wearing clothes. They were wearing cotton tunics, then baggy trousers. And on the other hand, Hindus were wearing loin clothes. Furthermore, when the crowd gather to hear the Mahatma speak, they are separated into their various castes and religions. Friends, this was also applicable into the pre-independence Indian society, that if people are assembled to listen someone, when people are gathered to sit at a common place, they sit in their caste only. They cannot sit mixed up. So when Gandhi appeared to give his speech, the Hindus were, upper caste Hindus were sitting in one side, Muslims are sitting on another side, lower caste Hindus are sitting on one side, and then there was division on the basis of their superiority of caste. The people who are, let's say, superior in the caste, they will sit in the front. Then the people who are, let's say, most humiliated and at the lowest level, they will sit at the back. Furthermore, when the crowd gather to hear the Mahatma speak, they are separated into their various castes and religions. So, we can understand that how much caste and religion has influenced the Indian society. The Hindu lalas or high caste Hindu ladies are smartly dressed in silks. They were wearing silk sarees, while members of the outcast colony are dressed in rags. Rags, the pieces of clothes. We cannot call them clothes. Everywhere they were stitched, and such kind of dresses were suggesting that these people belong to the lower caste in the Indian society. And the upper caste ladies, the Hindu lalas, the rich people, the money lenders, their wives were wearing silk clothes. According to the novel, I have taken all these references and quotations from the novel itself. Clothing as a signifier of religion and caste level is only one aspect of "you are what you wear" theme. Friends, Mulk Raj Anand has intentionally used these scenes and he has intentionally explained the clothing of the common Indians in this novel because he wants to suggest that you are what you wear. If you are an untouchable and you have money, you get money from somewhere, even then you are not allowed to wear silk sarees. And if you wear it, people will beat you badly in the society. You will be a victim of mob lynching. So we can understand that there were too many restrictions in the Indian society of that era. Through the eyes of Bakha, clothing becomes a metaphor for superiority and enlightenment. Well, friends, when Bakha looks at Britishers in the society, he sees that Britishers are always well dressed. and their dresses are very expensive and beautiful. So he appreciates Britishers because of their appearance, and he directly associates the superiority and enlightenment with the dress of a person. He marvels at the clear-cut styles of European dress. The Europeans, they were wearing clear-cut dresses, and considers those that wear them sahibs or superior people. So Bakha considers those people as sahibs. He do not have this concept in his mind that Britishers are exploiting India, because he was exploited from the Indians themselves. He can't even think of Britishers. There were Indians in his village who were exploiting his generations. He can't even think of Britishers exploiting in a broader perspective. He do not have the concept of, let's say, complete India being culturally, economically, and socially exploited by Britishers. Rather, he had his limited horizon of looking at things. For him, his village is considered as the entire nation for him. He rethinks that if he were to wear these habiliments, he would cast off his untouchable status and become a sahib too. Friends, Mulk Raj Anand used to say in this novel that it is always going on in the mind of Bakha that if he can wear such kind of clear-cut clothes, dresses like Europeans, then people will start respecting him in the society. But neither he had money, nor he was allowed to appear in that way. To this end, he begs Tommies for their extra clothing, no matter how loosely they fit him. So, this person Bakha sometimes meets, let's say, Europeans there, and he asks some old clothes from them, if they had some, no matter whether they are fitting into his body or not. But he tries to wear them and behave like a babu in the society. So we can understand that how much obsessed he was with the concept of wearing good European clothes. Though seemingly superficial, Bakha's musing about clothes reflecting the inner person having the strand of truth. So, we can understand, friends, that how much Bakha wanted to come out of his pitiable condition. And the only thing which comes into his mind is wearing European clothes. His own get-up, though ill-fitting, supposedly removes him above his odorous world in the eyes of the onlooker as he cleans the latrines. Friends, there is always a kind of odor. Odor means a kind of a smell which is coming from the clothes of Bakha, which is coming from the body of Bakha. The reason is that he is always, let's say, cleaning the latrines, and he is always present at the unhygienic places. And Bakha was, let's say, hating the odor of his own body. He wanted to, let's say, smell very sweetly. And to change his personality, to change that odor, he wanted to fit into those European clothes. So we can understand that how much he wanted to come out from his present condition. The next theme which we have to discuss here is rejection of Indian roots. There is no, let's say, dignity in being an Indian if you are belonging to the lower caste. So Baka was not proud of being an Indian, but he was humiliated and exploited by the Indians themselves. The rejection of Indian habits and social customs is a central idea of Untouchable. Baka is the best personification of this theme in the novel. Friends, Baka's life is a personification of Indian habits and social customs. This novel is not about an individual, but this novel is a voice against the orthodox Indian habits and customs. So we can understand that this novel has a generalized message for the entire India. We are first introduced to his distaste for certain Indian habits when he watches the Hindu men performing their morning ablutions. So friends, Baka hates the other Hindus. He do not believe in the Indian habits of living life. He wanted to perform like a Britisher. Anand writes that after working in the British barracks, Baka had become ashamed of the Indian way of washing up. So friends, Baka also works in the British barracks to clean the latrines. But when he look at the health and hygiene at those places, he feels ashamed of being an Indian. He feels ashamed on his own, let's say, birth in India. The disapproval Baka feels for these various habits stem for British feelings about him. For example, when the British see Hindus revealing themselves on the ground in public, they say, Kala Admi Zameen par hangne wala. Black men, you were relieving yourself on the ground. Friends, we can see clearly that Britishers used to hate Indians. When in the morning Britishers see that Indians are going in the fields to relieve themselves, Indians are going for excretion in the morning time, and the Britishers looked at them and they say these kind of, let's say, statements that these are the people who are black men and who relieve themselves on the ground and not in the toilets. These words are a condemnation and something to be embarrassed about, in Baka's opinion. Friends, Baka knows all these things and he is very sensitive towards the Hinduism and Indianism. And thus he believes that such kind of bad practices from common Indians should be, let's say, abandoned, should be finished. His rejection of Indian way of life is directly correlated to his embracement of British way of life. If the British Sahibs dislike something, they must be right, and he must emulate them in all things. Friends, Baka believed that if Britishers are saying something, that is right, and if Indians are saying something, that is wrong. So he was in true spirit the followers of Britishers. The rejection of Indian roots is closely intertwined with Britain colonization of India and extends far past Baka to Indian society as a whole. Friends, Baka had no concept of nationalism in him, but he was a victim of casteism in India. So Indian society as a whole had many problems which Baka has identified, and he rejects on the basis of those things the Indian roots from his own personality. Baka is not the only Indian fascinated by English culture. The presence of the Salvation Army in Bulle Shah is the testament of this. Friends, Baka was not only the, let's say, single person from the down caste, from the lower caste, who hates Indians and Indian ways of living, but there are many others from his group in that village Bulle Shah. It shows that there are some Indians interested in Christianity, the religion of the colonizer. Further, at the end of the novel, it is suggested that accepting the European machine, moving away from an agricultural economy to the industrial one, might be the path to salvation for untouchables. Friends, it is a general notion into few Indians that the Britishers do not believe in the agriculture economical aspects on which the Indian system is based. Rather, they believed on the industrial ways of living. And if Indians follow those European industrial ways, only then the upliftment of the Indian society could happen. Rejecting the Indian ways of cleaning waste and embracing the European ways of flushing it away without human contact could mean an end to the demands that sweepers satisfy, which would allow them to seek out other types of work that won't make them untouchable. Friends, this is the way, this is the method which is, let's say, propounded by Mulk Raj Anand, that if Indians accept the new concept of flush toilets in India, then the sweepers will not get this unhygienic work of cleaning the latrines, and thus they will think above this work and try to do some more, let's say, dignified work for their survival. However, things aren't always so straightforward. An example of this is the British Indian Penal Code the poet Iqbal speaks of near the end of the novel. Friends, in the last class, I told you that there is a character Iqbal in the story who is a Marxist. So Iqbal talks about the British Indian Penal Code. And through that British Indian Penal Code, he talks about, let's say, the upliftment of the downtrodden castes in the Indian society. This code recognized the rights of every Indian before the court, which on the de jure level makes everyone equal, and yet the Hindu caste system simply adjusted and made profession the determinant of caste level. Well, friends, if we talk about this way of doing things, in this, let's say, new law of British Indian Penal Code, all Indians are equal in front of court. And even the, let's say, lower caste people had the right to raise their voice for their upliftment in front of the British courts. Because families typically have the same profession across generations, this did not alter much. After walking a day in Bakha's shoes, it is clear that the caste system persists despite British attempts to eradicate it. Well, friends, although Britishers had made the laws, but who are the followers of that law? If each and every Indian do not want to change their habits and their lifestyle, how is the upliftment of these downtrodden castes is going to happen? This was the question. From generations, Bakha's family is doing this work of cleaning the latrines. So the society has not given them any other opportunity of work. Thus, they don't know any other work for their, let's say, for their survival. And thus, it was very impractical to raise the status of these people by just making a law. While certain ways of Indian life have been rejected in the face of supposed British superiority, others are upheld. Here, the push and pull between Indian and British socio-cultural mores can be seen. Friends, we can see there is also a, let's say, difference of opinion between the British culture and the Indian culture. And the superiority of British culture is established in this novel, Untouchable. So, this novel, Untouchable, is also a criticism of Indian society, Indian lifestyle, Indian way of thinking. And thus we can say that this is the criticism of pre-independence India. Another theme which is in detail discussed in this novel, Untouchable, is caste struggle. There, the society was divided into pieces on the basis of the caste of the people. At its core, Untouchable is a tale about class struggle. The paralyzing and polarizing differences between the various caste levels shape Bakha's day and fuel the narrative. Friends, Mulkraj Anand has narrated that how caste system has influenced the life of every individual in the society. Not only upper castes are influenced, just like lower castes, but also every individual belonging to these castes has to behave according to the manners and customs which are popular in a particular caste. Class and caste play a role in every interaction Bakha has over the course of his day. When his hero Singh speaks with him in a morning, it is with a grin that symbolizes 6,000 years of racial and class superiority. Friends, this kind of, let's say, personality is generated into a person according to his caste. I told you that there is a person who is a hockey player, Charat Singh. Now, when Charat Singh is speaking to Bakha, you will find a caste superiority into his dialogues, because Charat Singh belonged to the upper caste. And he, let's say, there is a sense of dominance which is visible in the dialogues of Charat Singh when he speaks to Bakha. Although he is friendly with Bakha also, but with a sense of balanced dominance over the lower castes. So, we can understand that class superiority is visible in the personality of every person who belongs to the upper caste. When Singh promises to give Bakha a hockey stick, he calls forth a trait of servility embedded in Bakha that he inherited from his forefathers. When this character Charat Singh, he promises to give a stick to Bakha. He says that it is the, let's say, duty of his caste to donate the things to the lower caste. And thus he is just following the, let's say, the tradition of his caste. So friends, we can understand that casteism was too much pervaded into the behavior of every individual in the society. Bakha is queerly humble and passively content like a bottom dog. Bottom dog means a very timid, a very shy person. This is clear example of how caste levels and what they symbolize about your station in life can be internalized and then manifested in your personality and demeanor. Friends, we can understand. Bakha is shown as a very humble person, very kind person, very, let's say, timid person, and such kind of behavior appears into his personality because of his caste. He belongs to the lowermost class in the caste in the Indian society. Intercaste inequality is not only about personal interaction, it is fueled by a set of rules that limits the lives and rights of outcasts, particularly the untouchable. Friends, we can understand that not only in the upper and the lower, but the intercaste inequalities are also visible in the story. When people are personally interacting with each other, even Bakha, when he is interacting to his friends, if the friend is a dhobi and Bakha is a sweeper, then dhobi will try to dominate the sweeper. Both of them belong to the lower caste, but dhobis are little superior to the latrine cleaners. So, the rights of the outcasts were fixed and set in the pre-independence Indian society. For example, the outcasts are not allowed to draw their own water from the public well because they would make a water polluted in the eyes of the upper caste Hindus. A very common example, friends. These lower caste people, they are not allowed to touch the, let's say, the water filling bucket. Any upper caste is going to fill the water from the well and will pour the water into their bucket. We all of us know this. They must prevail upon the charity of higher caste people, drawing water to share some with them, particularly to the untouchables, is the law of their untouchability. So friends, we can understand that these untouchable people, they were not even allowed to drink water according to their preferences. Whatever is given to them, whether it is water or food, they have to manage in that much amount only. So, what a pitiable condition these people were living into. They must take care not to touch those of other castes and to shout a warning about their presence wherever they go. Friends, I had already told you that when Bakha used to travel into the market, he used to utter a sound like posh, posh, untouchable, etc. so that people can understand that an untouchable is coming and they do not touch Bakha accidentally. Though the struggle between the caste levels takes precedent in the story, intra-caste conflict also exists. We know that, friends, that in the caste itself there was conflict going on in the Indian society. Gulabo, Ramcharan's mother, is a great illusion of this, though she is an outcast like Bakha and his family. Because she as her family are washer people, they occupy a higher place within their stared outcast status than the sweeper. So, Gulabo, let's say, tries to dominate Bakha and his community because she thinks that dhobis are superior to sweepers. Gulabo uses her higher station to terrorize Bakha and Sohini. Thus, the stratification of the caste isn't only an inter-issue but also an intra one. So friends, on the basis of this example, we can understand that there is an intra-conflict which was happening in the society because of this caste issue. The next theme in the list is charity. So, how charity is associated with the caste of a person. Let us talk about it. Charity occupies an interesting place in the world of untouchable. The outcasts are dependent on the charity of higher castes for fresh water, food, clothing, etc. Friends, these are the basic necessities. Everyone needs fresh water, food or clothing. But a lower caste person cannot earn these things on his or her own. They have to rely on the upper caste. Whatever they will give them, these lower caste people have to wear those clothes. Whether they are rags, they had no other choice but to stitch them and wear them. Oftentimes, the begging of the outcasts is met with derision and anger by the higher caste. So, although these people beg these things, the basic necessities, but even then they are hated and shouted by the upper caste people. This uncharitable reaction is short-sighted when considering that outcasts must beg for water, since the caste system deems them unworth of drawing their own. So friends, the caste system begging the water and let's say drawing the clothes from them, it is very unworthy, but even then it was an uncharitable reaction from the higher caste people. They wish to give something, only then they give it to the lower caste. The higher caste are unable to see the poverty of the outcast is their own doing, not that of the outcast. So, Friends, higher caste was not in a, let's say, in a thinking that they are responsible for the pitiable condition of the lower caste. Rather, they had the superiority complex. On the other hand, in order to maintain their current status or rise in the caste hierarchy in the next life, Hindus must perform acts of charity. So, friends, this is a Hindu belief that if you do the charity, you will get, let's say, you will be removed from your sins. Your all sins will be burnt. So Hindus are doing charity, upper caste Hindus, by donating some things to these lower caste people. The Brahmins and the Kshatriyas, the two upper castes in Hindu society, claim they earned their position because of all the good deeds they did in previous lives. So in the way, the higher castes are dependent on charity as well. This is a common belief, friends, in that society, that if you are born in a Brahmin family or a Kshatriya family, it means that you have done a lot of charity in your previous life. And thus, what you are getting, what facilities you are getting in this life because of your caste, they are your rights. Because you deserve those things. And the people who belong to the lower caste, they have done all the bad deeds. They have not done charity, which is why they are born in the lower caste family. Next theme in this novel is cyclic oppression. Friends, there is a cyclic oppression happening one after the other in the novel. So let us try to understand this oppression. The life of the outcast is cyclical, not only because it is perpetuated by corrupt interpersonal dealings, but also because it is generational. So I told you, friends, that if there is a latrine cleaner, his father was also a latrine cleaner, his grandfather was also a latrine cleaner. So in this way, from generations they are doing the same work and they are being oppressed in the similar manner from the upper caste of India. The oppression and terrible life strands the outcasts face persist across generations. Bakha began working in the latrines as a sweeper at the age of 6, same as his father, his grandfather, great-grandfather, etc. So, Bakha started this work at the age of 6 only. And he was forced to become proficient in this unhygienic work since his childhood, and his mind is evolved to work for this task only. The next theme into this novel, Untouchable, is the untouchables' responsibility or the untouchables' burden. Deeply intertwined with the themes of class struggle and cyclic oppression is the idea of untouchables' responsibility or the untouchables' burden. So friends, nobody in the society believed that something wrong is going on with the untouchables. Rather, the people thought that this is the burden or the responsibility of the untouchables to live in this pitiable condition. Aside from their job as sweeper, the untouchables are also tasked with ensuring they don't touch high caste people and the higher caste people don't touch them. So friends, they stay apart from their own society. Bakha first mentions this responsibility after he bumps into a caste man surrounded by a mob of angry Hindus. Bakha realized that he was surrounded by a barrier, not a physical barrier, but a moral one. So friends, when Bakha was accidentally touched, he was surrounded by a crowd. The crowd tried to beat him, and Bakha thought that he is surrounded by the people who do not want his position to be changed. He knew that contact with them, if he pushed through, would defile the great many more of the men. Instead of burden being on the men to make sure they don't touch Bakha, he is the one that must take care. So friends, had Bakha started beating that upper caste person who touched him accidentally, there would be more people assembled at that place, and all those people might have killed Bakha in rage and anger that how can let's say sweeper think of beating a upper caste person. So Bakha was silent in that condition. Bakha reinforces this idea when he apologizes to the men he bumps into and says, I have erred now, I forget to call, I beg your forgiveness. So friends, Bakha, he treats that situation very humbly. He says that, please forgive me, it was my mistake, you were not accidentally touched me, I had, let's say, unintentionally touched you. The call Bakha refers to is posh, keep away, posh, sweeper coming, posh, posh. Untouchables must shout this as they walk to notify others to their approach. So friends, this is how Bakha used to speak when he is moving on the road, so that even accidentally any person might not touch him. Not only must they clean up the refuse of others, they must also protect the cleanliness of others. So friends, these people are rebuked, these people are humiliated by other people, and above that they have to clean their latrines also. The untouchables' burden is another means of keeping the untouchable suppressed. This is best illustrated by Sohini's brush with Pandit Kalinath in the temple. Friends, there is one incident when Kalinath tries to abuse physically Sohini. But there is a burden on the mind of every lower caste person that they are not allowed to speak. They had no voice. Here we have a Hindu high caste man that willingly touched Sohini as an amorous manner. When she rejected him, Nath cried, polluted, polluted, and accused Sohini of defiling him. So friends, when Sohini refused to make relationship with Kalinath, Kalinath cried that Sohini had polluted him and he abused her in public. Because she is an untouchable, Sohini has no means of defining herself. She cannot argue that Nath touched her in his own volition, because such a defense would make no sense to Hindus that observe the caste system. So friends, Sohini knew that if she will reveal the reality of Kalinath, even then people will not believe her. Everyone will try to rebuke Sohini because of her act, and everyone will believe on the words of Kalinath only. Making bodily contact negligence on the part of the untouchable and not the caste person allows sexual assault like Sohini to be permissible. Friends, this is the hypocrisy of the Indian society, that Kalinath, who do not even touch a lower caste person, but he want to make sexual relationship with Sohini. How can he make the sexual relationship without touching a girl? This is another example of the class struggle between untouchables and caste people, and another way untouchables are reduced to a subhuman status. So friends, the untouchables are treated as subhumans, animals, near to animals. The next theme is the theme of religion. How much strong the religion was in the Indian society, and how religion was used as a propaganda by the Christianity, the Christian missionaries. Religion is the thread that connects all the themes in Untouchable. Anand uses clothing to separate the Hindus from the Muslims, from the Christians. So, if you belong to a different religion, you have to belong a different kind of clothes. Colonel Hutchinson's interest in Bakha is fueled by his belief that Bakha wishes to convert to Christianity. Friends, this person, Colonel Hutchinson, he thinks that as Bakha belonged to a lower caste, he can be converted to Christianity. Also, though alienated from his father Lakha, Bakha feels a connection to him when thinking about how his father, his mother, and their forefathers all worshipped Rama, god of Hindus. So friends, Although Bakha was humiliated in the Indian community, but even then he believed in Rama. He was the devotee of Lord Rama, and he did not want to leave his religion and his family and become Christian. While religion is a source of many issues the novel grapples with, it is also the force that brings our characters into contact with one another. So, friends, with this example, we can understand that religion was, let's say, putting the people into a chain. Although they were divided into castes, but even then, religion was acting as a common force to bring the people, the Hindus and the Muslims and the Christians together into the society. So I hope that on the basis of these themes, you can understand that how deeply the Mulk Raj Anand has observed the Indian society and how much he is able to explain all these things through the language of this novel, Untouchable. I hope that you have understood this novel from corner to post to pillar, and everything related to the hidden intentions of Mulk Raj Anand in writing this novel. Thank you for listening. That is all for today.